If you enjoy listening to inspirational stories from people just like us, facing the fear and doing it anyway, then you're in the right place. My name is Claire Hill, and this is the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. Hello, welcome to episode 34 of the No Rest for the Vivid podcast, and this is Claire Hill, your host. If you don't already know who I am, I'm Claire Hill, and I give business support, but especially for those business owners who have experienced any trauma or adverse life events, because I believe that things can be transformed. That pain, that energy, the worrying that results from going through these things can be transformed into warrior energy, which can build something really spectacular. And I really believe that because it happened to me. I am my greatest advert, I suppose, that I was able to transform how I thought about myself, how I thought about life, how I thought about my business, how I thought about everyone, everything actually, probably. I was able to transform all of it. I just used to carry this massive dark cloud around with me and pretend to everybody that I was all right most of the time, but I wasn't. And I managed to transform it all. And I did that through all of the ways that I'm teaching you all through this podcast, I suppose, and all my teachings in the beside the Vivid Club membership and my coaching and my mentoring. Yeah, and I'm writing a book on it. So don't worry if you don't want to get involved with the membership or anything like that, because I am writing a book, so then you can read the book. It's going to be a good one. I've been writing it for about 20 years. I don't know. I've literally wanted to write a book my whole life. So I'm actually getting onto it. Okay, I want you all to hold me accountable. Anyway, enough about the book that I'm supposed to be writing. Today, I want to talk to you about just how you meet your own basic needs. Now, you might be listening to this and thinking, oh, I haven't experienced any trauma or adverse life events. Actually, I'm just really interested in what you've got to say. Well, that's fantastic. Because the thing is this applies to everybody. And I wouldn't even say it applies more so to people that have gone through trauma and adverse life events. It is just for everyone to realise. So you can definitely learn from this episode. I studied a master's degree and ended up specialising in trauma-informed education because I used to be an assistant head teacher in a secondary school. So part of my research was teaching people about trauma and trauma-informed practice and trauma responsive practice so that children in schools could learn better and be able to feel more confident, because quite a lot of the time, if trauma and adverse life events have really severely affected you, impacts on your self-esteem. So the strategies that I taught teachers and did the research around was all about building that up and listening, positive relationships, strength-based approach. And I do all of that inside the Vivid Club membership, because even though everything I learned and taught and practiced when I was doing my master's degree, though it was all aimed at education at the time, it is so transferable into giving support to business owners, and especially those that have gone through trauma and adverse life events, because we have to teach ourselves. It's like we're being back in school and we don't know what we're doing, but we have to be teaching ourselves. Running a business can throw so many curveballs at you and can really derail you and can derail your energy, your view on the world and how you feel about yourself. But I feel that if you're really meant to run a business and be an entrepreneur, there is something like buried in your gut that even on those dark days when it's like really hard, those days when you feel like you're walking through tar and your eyes you could just curl up in a ball and just go, I'm done. This business lark is too hard for me. I cannot do it any longer. And then something in your gut goes, hello? No, have you watched Labyrinth, the film? I don't know why I'm saying it like you're here, but let me know. Have you watched Labyrinth? When that little snail slug worm, I think he's a worm, is on the wall, and Sarah says to him, and like he's just by the wall, and he goes, "Hello." So imagine this lovely, friendly worm in your gut, but a little voice going, "Hello. May feel a bit shit today, but really like it if you don't give up. Thank you. Thanks very much." Now, there were lots of times when you may feel like giving up because it is too hard. You may even want to give up and you do give up, and that's fine. I am not opposed to giving up, by the way, ever, because I've given up on stuff. My first, well, I say my first, it was actually my second business. Can you count a business that you run when you were 14? That you can't remember what you called it? Whatever the name, whatever the word is in Italian for bag, I think it was like babel. I don't know if it can't have been babel. Babel. Oh, I feel like I need to Google that. I'll let you know. But it's whatever the Italian word for bag is. And that was when I was 14. But the other business that was quite a lot more successful than the first, Violet and May, I gave that up. And I knew that it was the right thing to do because I just didn't have that voice. There wasn't a voice going, "No, Claire." Well, I've changed the voice. "No, Claire, don't give up on it. It's going to be such a great thing." There was no voice like that. It was just, "You're done. It's done. This business has really done you a good service. The end." That's what the voice was saying. So I am all up for giving up when you know it's right. And actually, a member of the Vivid Club, she's left the membership now because she just said, I just don't feel like it aligns with me anymore. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit with what I want from life, what I want to do. I feel like it's a huge burden. And I was like, well, that voice is telling you the right thing then. I wish you absolutely well, and you're going to do amazing things. I miss her in the club, obviously, but I'm never ever going to give you support and say you can't give up. But I am going to say to you, when you feel like giving up, go and have a little quiet time. Go and sit in silence for as long as you can. Go and brain dump and write as much as you can. Just let yourself hear what's going on in your gut instinct. I really believe that. And it's served me so many times. So that's why I tell people to do it. So when you are in those dark days where you feel like you're walking through tar, but you can hear that little voice going, "No, no, you don't give up." And I'm going to be very honest. I had a day like this yesterday. I felt dreadful yesterday. I just kept procrastinating. I had a to-do list. I'd done everything by the way, I do everything I teach everybody else to do. I had my to-do list. I was doing my Pomodoro technique. I was applying the 1% factor. I listened to my Warrior Energy playlist. I'd done everything, all of the things, and was just like, no, I can't. I just don't know what's wrong with me. So I chose to do things. There was a couple of priority things that I had to work on. I'm working on a project that needed some work doing on it. And then I thought, right, did I create some content? Yeah, I think so. And so I thought, right, okay, I'm done. And I could just hear my voice going, "You need to go and lay down. You need to go and rest." And when my husband came in from work, I said, and we're decorating the kitchen at the moment, £200 budget we've got. Though we did get given a sink from my in-laws, so it will end up being worth more than £200, but so I'm just being transparent. But we are redoing all of our cupboard doors and repainting them, which I'm very excited about. And I'm doing it because of something that I'm going to tell you in a minute, but about finding joy doing things that aren't work. So I said, my husband came in from work and I said, "I think I'm done." He said, "Yeah, I think you need a night off," because we were supposed to be decorating. I said, "I just feel like I just want to lay and watch Grey's Anatomy." He said, "Do it." So I put Jackson to bed, my son, went upstairs, got into bed at 7:30, and watched Grey's Anatomy in EastEnders. It was wonderful. And then he came up about 9:30 because he actually carried on decorating. And this morning, got up at 5:30 and then just wrote until things are a bit slow, isn't it? At the moment, it's summer holidays, so things are a little bit slower. So I wrote for 2 hours. Jackson had a little bit of a lay-in as well, so we didn't get up till nearly 7:30. So yeah, it was wonderful. And now today, I've got so much energy because I met my basic needs. And I also took my vitamins. I'd been not taking my vitamins consistently. And I didn't drink enough water yesterday as well. So it's all these things, and this is coming to the actual point of this podcast, because we forget our basic needs. When we are busy, it feels like it's the first thing to go out of the window. So when we are, I'm sure you've heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Fact of the day, that Maslow didn't even put it in a pyramid. They did that. They put it in a pyramid after he died. But there's a guy called Scott Barry Kaufman, and he created the boat, the new set of science of self-actualization. And it's like a boat. If you Google, and I'll put a link actually in the show notes. And he said it's not necessarily a pyramid, but it's more like a boat, that you are creating foundations that you need to use to float on water. And I really like that idea actually, because we want to go and make loads of money. We want to be really successful with our content and our marketing. We want people to know who we are, be visible, have all the confidence to do all of that, the self-belief to push our dreams forward. And we don't even have a solid foundation of drinking enough water. Who do we think we are? Who do I think I am? Because I'm literally doing this from yesterday. Right now, right this second, grab a glass of water. I'm going to do the same on the podcast. I can't find my water bottle. I've got my water bottle. So I'm just going to move away from the camera and I'm going to have a drink. So please do it as well. Let's all have a drink together listening to this podcast. Wonderful. I have a 2 litre bottle of water because then I only have to remember to fill it up once. So if I can't remember to drink it, what am I going to do about filling it up? So anyway, basic needs. They create our safety net and security. And that is how we are able to progress. If you don't have security there within your health, your basic needs being met, then you're not going to be able to push yourself forward. You're not going to be able to drive yourself forward. So his idea is about transcending up this. It's like an image of a boat. So the base of the boat, no, the hull, the body of the boat. We need to make sure we feel safe, that we're secure. So, roof over our heads. We are meeting our basic needs. We're drinking water. We're well nourished. We aren't eating shit every day. Then the next thing he says about is connection. And this is why the Vivi Club membership is so important. This is why I created the Vivi Club membership, because it's a community. There is connection there. Everybody, and that's why I do the in-person meetups, because people build relationships. There is connection there. Therefore, and you're connecting with people that know what you're going through. That is the key. That is so the key. I love connection, but also connection with people that you love that don't do anything like what you do. And I think that sometimes we need to connect with ourselves. Like I saw a meme not too long ago of this little cartoon character just saying, just breathe. Wouldn't it be lovely to just sit and the only thing you need to worry about is breathing? So I do that sometimes. I just think, you know what? I'm not a business owner right now. I'm not a mum. I'm not a wife. I'm not a friend. I'm not a sister. I'm none of those things. I am Claire, me, and I'm going to sit here and just breathe. That's what I'm going to do today. Imagine if you just went, imagine if I went to my husband, Dan. Oh, Dan, by the way, love, I'm not going to do anything around the house today. You're going to have to do all of it because I'm really concentrating on just breathing. That's all I want on my to-do list. Breathing. Imagine. I bet there's some people that do get that luxury, but maybe just 5 minutes, maybe even 2 minutes. Sitting on the toilet doing this, by the way, is not the same thing. The only piece of quiet you're getting is sitting on the toilet. That is not what we're talking about here. And I actually am now telling that Jackson, my son, I say to him when he's just coming up for 4, though I have told him that he can't turn 4 unless he dresses himself every day. How mean is that? But you know what? It's working. I don't have to dress him now. I just say, there's your clothes. Oh, do you want to turn 4? And then, and you might be thinking, but what happens when he turns 4? Well, I've told him he goes backwards. If he stops getting himself dressed, he goes back to 3 years old. Such a comeback. It's really working though. I am one of them mums that tell him like, don't pick your nose, your brain will fall out. I'm one of them mums. It really makes me laugh though. um, so anyway, back to the transcend model. So connection, but connecting with people that do know what you do for a living and understand. But also because in the Vivid Club, they all say they're like work colleagues. We have co-working time, and we all sit on a Monday morning and do our CEO work. It's really cool, and everyone, can chat then and like have a cup of tea together, even though it's over Zoom. It does feel like you're connecting. It's really cool. So connection, but connection with your loved ones and spending time on your own and just doing things for you. Reading a book because you like reading a book. Watching Grey's Anatomy because you like watching Grey's Anatomy. You don't have to worry about anything else. Then part of security is self-esteem. And this is going back to warrior energy and really looking after yourself in your mindset and reframing. And I am going to talk a bit more about this. There are other episodes where I touch on it, but really reframing and changing how you're thinking so that you can increase your self-esteem and becoming your best friend. I think the biggest impact I've had on my self-esteem was becoming my own best friend and looking after my future self. Because one, if I've got a problem, I do go to my husband, and I've got like my sister and my best friend Bex who works with me. So she's always here most of the time. Or if she's not here, I'm on the phone with her. But what is really nice is I have other friends that don't work with me. So I do reach out to them if I've got a problem, and I talk to them. But actually the only person that I can really talk to that knows exactly 100% what I'm talking about is myself. And I don't just sit and talk to myself, I write it down. So the morning pages for me, that's where it all comes from. I adore the morning pages. I write, if you don't know what morning pages are, I'm going to tell you now. It's about writing 3 sides of A4. Most of the time it's absolute shite, but actually sometimes I get a nugget of self-awareness or an idea for making money. I've had an amazing idea doing it today about the work that I want to do with Vivid Wire so that's my other business, by the way. Links are in the show notes. So Vivid Wire, I really, really want to always be doing charity work. And one of the things that is really important to me is working with young carers because I used to be a young carer. So I'm trying to work out a way that I can do that. So if you are in the Kent area and you know any leads or any charities that work with young carers, please get in touch with me. And I think it's going to be something like with every Vivid Wire order, a wire art kit will be donated to a young carer, and then I'm going to go and donate some time at some charities and schools to teach young carers how to make wire art because it helps your self-esteem. I believe wire art is one of the things that has really helped my self-esteem as well because you are building something. It's like Lego, and you are building something that has structure and substance and depth that can last forever. But you made it with your own bare hands. There's not much, well, there's quite a lot of stuff that can do that, like clay. Clay's messy though. This is why I think the schools that I'm going to be working with, they like that it's not really messy. Wire art is very easy to clear up. But yeah, so self-esteem, but really practicing, like when I make a decision or a thought, I'm like, would I speak to my best friend like this? No, I wouldn't. Would I speak to my sister like this? No, I wouldn't. So why am I talking to myself like this? Sort yourself out. Look after your future self. And my future self is like so grateful, oh, I'm really happy that you just reframed that and gave yourself a little bit of time because it's given me more energy to do this. That has made such an impact on my self-esteem. So then we move up to the sail. So that's the body of the boat. Then the 3 pillars, I suppose it's pillars, are exploration, love, and purpose. So if you're not exploring new things, new adventures, and literally exploring could be reading a new book or listening to a new song or listening to a new podcast. Maybe this is the first time you've listened to this podcast, you've explored. So anything new and exciting where you're learning, basically. Then love yourself, love others, love everyone, unless they're bastards. Sometimes you can love a bastard, can't you? But love without judgment, just loving people for who they are and not who you want them to be. That's real love, isn't it? And then purpose, having an actual purpose and direction. And the thing is that as business owners, the purpose is making money. And we think that's more important than having a drink of water. That is not true. You need to start from drinking your water, basic needs, all the way up to going through all of those things up to purpose. And that's where I'm going to leave you today. If you haven't had another drink of water and taken some vitamins, please do. Some people say they don't need vitamins. If you do the research, you basically need 10 oranges for an old 1 orange because of how things are farmed now. So I think organic is a little bit better. But please take your vitamins. I'm obviously not a doctor, but Barocca is really good. Maybe I should ask if they want to do a brand partnership. I tell everyone to take Barocca. But yeah, Barocca is fantastic. I have it every day from now on because I've let myself down a little bit. I also take magnesium because that's really good for helping you sleep and other things. I think there's a little bit of just for stress levels. I also take vitamin D. Obviously, it's quite sunny here in Britain at the minute. Well, not actually today. The rain finally came today, but vitamin D, I take those 2, and I take iron tablets because I'm one of them people that can sneeze and they're anemic. So, and I like giving blood. So there you go. There you go. There's this episode for today. Right now, I have no idea what I'm going to call it. I'm sure something will come up. Probably be meeting basic needs. What a catchy title for a podcast. But if you have enjoyed this podcast and you don't already subscribe, please find the little cross plus sign or follow me on Spotify or just send a link to somebody you know and say, I really enjoyed this episode of this podcast. Have a listen, because that is how I help more people. And I really believe that I can help loads of people transform from warrior bosses into warrior bosses. And even if you don't run a business, there's quite a few nuggets in there, isn't there? So yeah, there's the Transcend model from Scott Barry Kaufman. I'll put the link in the show notes. Have a wonderful week. Mini Monday coming on Monday, if you listen to this on Thursday. And I'll talk more about the Warrior Energy playlist in that episode. Yeah. Have a wonderful weekend when it arrives. Thank you so much for listening to the No Rest for the Vivid podcast, written, produced and hosted by Claire Hill, and music has been composed by my brother Phil Vidler.